Welcome to County Report this week. I'm Lorna Virgili, and thank you for watching. Coming up in the next half hour, less than 2 months into the new year and over 40 collisions involving pedestrians reported already. Council President Navarro addresses this issue. Plus, proposed legislation attacks lead in school drinking water. And later, the county's civil rights tour is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel and learn about the historic past. We'll tell you how you can be part of it. But first, this week we sat down with Montgomery County Executive Marc Elrich to record our show 101. We talked about his first 90 days in office and the fiscal year 2020 operating budget that he is preparing to send to County Council.
I feel like I'm trying to be realistic with people. And so my conversations are, these are the numbers. It really is constraining because I want everybody to understand that, you know, the constraints we're going to have are real. We're committed to making sure that that everybody understands are working on the same set of numbers and that there aren't any surprises for people. So if we're telling folks what we think the revenues are going to be or what we're getting for the state, we're trying to hit really close to the mark.
Executive Elrich also addressed how he hopes to find a replacement for retiring Police Chief Tom Manger.
I like Tom as chief. We worked together really well. I was, on the Public Safety Committee, all those years I was on the council. And I thought a lot about the work the department did. And I think he was very forthright, and he's considered by national standards a very progressive chief. And when we talked about body cameras, for example, they were already working on it. They knew that this is where the world was going, and they were going there. And so it was good to have somebody who didn't have to be dragged into the 21st century, but who actually understood this is the 21st century and this is the evolution of policing.
You can watch this entire episode of 101 on the county's YouTube channel. It's been already a year since 17 students were gunned down at Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. This anniversary was remembered by a local school with a hanging of 671 t-shirts. Here's why.
Bethesda Chevy Chase High School students say they will never forget the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018.
I feel like if we don't keep remembering it, I feel like at one point, maybe people will stop, thinking about it, and I feel like it will happen more if we don't remember it and really try to, think about it.
On the 1-year anniversary, since 17 students and faculty members were killed at Stoneman Douglas High, a group of BCC students hung 671 t-shirts on the fence along East-West Highway. Each shirt had the names and ages of teenagers in the U.S. who were killed by guns in 2018. During the morning announcements, BCC paid homage to those affected by senseless gun violence.
We had a moment of silence, and this is very impactful because there's a lot of school shootings.
The BCC students we spoke with were inspired by Stoneman Douglas students who've become outspoken activists against gun violence.
They're very inspirational. I myself, I wish I could be as that impactful to our youth, and doing something like that is very great and inspiring.
Since the tragedy at Stoneman Douglas, BCC students have noticed administrators not just preparing students for a school shooting, but they've also given students permission to become activists for a cause they believe in.
We definitely have more strategies, and also the students, even myself, there were a lot of gun marches. I feel especially after that incident, which a lot of the students went to, so I thought that was really cool.
Pedestrian safety continues to be worrisome for county authorities. Thus far this year, there have been 40 collisions involving pedestrians in the county. Council President Nancy Navarro addressed this issue during a media briefing.
We in Montgomery County are experiencing, I think, a real challenge with pedestrian issues, pedestrian safety. We know that up until now there have been 40 pedestrian accidents, and one of them fatal, and that is a real concern. So there was a lot of interest in making sure that we would pretty much hurry up, if you will, fast track some of those proposals and recommendations in the plan that have to do with addressing some of these pedestrian safety issues.
Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services officials say a closed door can save lives during house fires. Here's more on why.
There's something very simple a family can do to protect themselves in the event they have a fire in the home: close the door. And there's an initiative primarily started by Underwriter Laboratories, or backed up by Underwriter Laboratories and supported by fire departments across the nation, including Montgomery County, where it close before you doze. And what that means, we're trying to get people to close the door when they go to sleep at night. If you have the smoke alarms in place in the bedrooms or on every sleeping level, every level of your home, that will alert you to the fire. The door being closed will not only keep smoke out, but it will keep heat out. In the event you can't get out, the closed door can save your life. It will give you that time, buy you that time so the fire department can get there or someone else can get there and help you out if you're trapped and you cannot escape. It also can block, at least temporarily, the toxic smoke.
Coming up on County Report this week, Councilmember Tom Hucker introduces a bill that addresses lead content in drinking water at county schools. And we get the latest Consumer Alert report. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls: 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going. Recycle more now.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Lorna Virgili. National Consumer Protection Week is coming up. Here's investigator Joy Matthews from the Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection with more information about how the county is celebrating it.
Hello, I'm Joy Matthews, an investigator here at the Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection. I wanted to let you know that March 4th through 10th is National Consumer Protection Week. During this period, we put the spotlight on consumer issues
they have leftover material from down the block
and things you can do to protect yourself from home improvement scams, unfair business practices, financial fraud, and more.
He's going to start his own investigations.
Throughout the week, our office will be at county libraries. Please come meet the OCP staff and investigators, ask your consumer and regulatory questions, and pick up educational materials. Here's the schedule. Please check our website for more information and updates. While you're there, you'll also find consumer tips and advice, news and press releases, how to file a complaint, and more. Go to montgomerycountymd.gov/consumer.
Montgomery Planning recently hosted their second event of the 2019 Winter Speakers Series, all with a focus on upcoming update to the county's general plan, the policy document that guides how the county uses its land and grows to adapt to changes in the future. Montgomery Planning's crew was there to cover the event.
Tonight is the second of our Winter Speaker Series, and we're so excited. We have a wonderful speaker, Harriet Tregoning, who's going to be talking about resilience, and that is a very important topic for all of us, especially in Montgomery County as we're thinking about our general plan and how we need to sort of envision the future of the county. And I think resilience has many different aspects, certainly environmental, but lots of other kinds of resilience, of ways of being able to respond to all the forces that are changing our community as we speak.
Well, I'm talking about resilience, but maybe not in the just in the ways that people think about it in terms of climate change and disasters. I'm talking about how much change we're going to see in Montgomery County over the next 50 years, and how resilience is about not knowing exactly what the future is going to be, but being able to be flexible, adaptable, to meet that future head on and to thrive, whatever those conditions are.
Resilience is really about not only how can we help communities bounce back in the event of a natural disaster or some other type of major shock, but also what can we do differently in the future so that our communities can thrive even better, even in the midst of vulnerabilities or challenges that we may be aware of.
We're updating our general plan, which is the document that guides all the work we do in land use, transportation, other issues that relate to our work as an agency, and we need to really reorient our thinking for the future. That's what planning is all about. We've had a great general plan for 50-some years, but really it's time to rethink some of the approaches that we've taken in the past. That's essential for our economic competitiveness, for environmental sustainability, and also for social equity. So I think that this general plan update is a great opportunity to look at those with fresh eyes and really set a course for the decades ahead.
The county's Department of Health and Human Services, through the Early Childhood Services Program, offers a series of resources to families with children of all abilities. This week on the county's Spanish language radio show, we talked about some of these services that range from childcare to developmental screenings.
Early intervention is key in really taking care of some issues the children might have. Why is important? Because the sooner the better. Once you realize that your child has a developmental delay, a developmental issue, why not take care of it? So ask for an appointment, have a team evaluating your child, and you will start receiving services as soon as possible if your child is identified as needing services.
For more information on early childhood services, call 240-777-4769. Councilmember Tom Hucker has introduced a bill that would reduce the allowable level of lead in drinking water at Montgomery County Public Schools. This bill would place lead levels in the county lower than state standards. Here's more.
Well, there's new state legislation that requires all the schools in the state to test drinking water outlets for lead in drinking water. The state standard for action is really too high. It's 20 parts per billion. There really is no safe level for lead. So while the school system has done the right thing, they've now tested, and we now have the results for all the outlets and all the schools in Montgomery County. The important next step is to establish a safer level, a lower level that's more health protective, and then we're going to be able to have to fund the schools really to remediate those as well. They've taken the outlets that showed lead levels over 20 parts per billion out of commission, and now we want them to take the next step and address the remaining ones as well.
Parkland Middle School 7th graders recently had the STEM opportunity of a lifetime. MCPS TV brings us the story.
All 360 Parkland Magnet Middle School 7th graders are participating in SSEP, or SEEP, the Student Spaceflight Experiments Program. Students were challenged to design experiments to be tested in a microgravity environment.
Our project was about mixing cement and steel through microgravity.
We decided to go with green algae. We figured out that it was edible, which kind of brought up a question. Can algae be a probable food source in space?
Each of the 83 student teams submitted their proposals to a review board of teachers and school partners. 3 finalists were selected. Then SEEP chose the winning experiment. The prize, a once-in-a-lifetime honor.
The team that I'm going to call next is the team whose experiment will actually be going aboard the International Space Station.
That experiment is going to test whether or not mixing steel powder into cement will make it stronger in space.
Y'all, this is so big. This is huge. Look at the smiles on their faces. Oh my goodness. So it's really, really cool for our students because these are things that scientists are doing. And the idea that you get to have astronauts actually conduct your experiment in space, I think they're going to really remember this for a lifetime. Give them a round of applause, guys.
My career goal is to work at NASA and to work with microbes and microbe research, which I'm already doing now in 7th grade, which is crazy.
Coming up on County Report this week, the county's Office of Human Rights organizes its annual Civil Rights Tour. Stay tuned to learn how you can be part of it. And the Winston High School community will be hosting social justice and equity meetings. We'll tell you why. Stay with us. County Report this week. We'll be right back.
We all know the stress of driving into downtown Silver Spring and the district, but thanks to Ride On, I don't have to worry anymore. Route 129 is a new limited stop bus route running both directions along the US 29 corridor, from Burtonsville Park and Ride to the Paul Serene Silver Spring Transit Center. There are even free, convenient park and ride lots along the route. Now my commute is relaxing. Plus I'm helping get cars off the road, reducing congestion and my commute time.
Ride On. Get there faster.
Welcome back to County Report this week. I'm Lorna Virgili. Here's a story that takes us back to a dark time in history. Susan Kennedy reports.
In Montgomery County, there were 3 known lynchings.
It's a painful part of Montgomery County's history, the lynchings of 3 black men here in the county, 2 in 1880 and 1 in 1896. Recently, the historic Medley District in Poolesville brought in a local historian to fill in the details on one of these events.
With a mighty hoist of the rope from the crowd,
that still has so many unanswered questions.
And his body swung lifelessly.
The lynching of George Peck.
For Peck, his life ended to a violent day that gripped the Washington region and made headlines across the nation. The first recorded lynching at its time to occur in Montgomery County, Peck's death released a specter of violence that would haunt the region for decades to come.
The lynching of George Peck, a local laborer, featured images of people, places, and artifacts from this chapter of Poolesville's history. A descendant of slaves himself, Cohen recounted the events of the day of the lynching up until its final moments.
Choosing a field across from the Presbyterian Church with a large locust tree from which to hang their bedraggled prey. Hauling him down the street and tossing his body over a fence without ceremony, Peck now resolved to meet his maker, if such a God could possibly exist, to a spot where, quote, under the shadow of the church, end quote, as one reporter claimed.
Councilmembers Hans Remer and Andrew Friedson attended Cohen's presentation. Both believe strongly in the council's commitment in advancing this dialogue.
Well, one of the first steps in this whole conversation is to get the facts about the events that happened, to learn about the lynchings and to try to place them geographically.
A moment of silence.
And so here we are standing where Mr. Peck was dragged and hung from a tree. And so it helps to be able to visualize that and to stand in front of a building that was here at that time. So it's an important part of the conversation, of the process, this journey as we engage this dialogue.
One account said that the lynching happened in front of the church.
Well, I think it's our responsibility. I think it's our obligation. For too long in Montgomery County and in many other places around the country, unfortunately, there was institutionalized issues that the government was on the wrong side of many of these issues, were participating in some of the perpetrating of these historical wrongs. And I think to institutionalize the solutions and to have the government and in this case the county council really taking a leadership role with some of my colleagues who have done incredible work here, I think sends the right message, and hopefully we can bring everybody together in order to do it.
But perhaps one of the most moving moments of the day
Need a minute.
came when Tony Cohen told the story of his own great-grandfather, Abraham Warren, the son of his master and a slave woman, a man who escaped tragedy to go on and own 350 acres of farmland in Texas under a new identity.
As far as we know, we are the only black landholders on the Trinity River today. And he did it so that his children would never have to grow up and work for a white person.
For Tony Cohen,
everyone ready?
Talking about the past is his reconciliation and remembrance.
Hey, nice job. I didn't say that to you. That was great.
Oh, thank you.
In Poolesville, I'm Susan Kennedy for County Report This Week.
My pleasure.
Some students at Winston Churchill High School are facing consequences for distributing paper passes that contain a racial slur. Here is what happened.
Officials say some students at Churchill High School in Potomac participated in distribution of N-word passes last Friday. An email sent out by the principal here at Winston Churchill High School revealed that after further investigation, paper passes were given to some students, giving the receiver permission to use the N-word. Principal Brandis Heckert also mentioned in the email, quote, "I am deeply disappointed and appalled that any student in our school would choose to engage in such a racist, hateful act." The quote goes on to say that behavior that is disrespectful and or intolerant will not be accepted. MCPS public information officials say the racial slur is not tolerated in any of their schools or buildings.
As soon as administration was made aware of this, the principal had conversations with these students, appropriate consequences were given, and some next steps include having a conversation with the community as a whole so they can talk about why it's not okay to do things like this, why this kind of behavior is harmful to your fellow classmates.
School officials say they just want to make sure students understand why an offensive term like this is unacceptable to use and ways for the community to come together to heal from this.
The principal has shared with the school community that they're going to have a PTSA meeting that will be dedicated solely to having conversations about race, about social justice, about equity, and this meeting will take place on February 19th for the school community.
Staff will also follow up with study circles for students where they will come together to have tough conversations, to talk about one another's feelings in a safe environment. They will also get resources and tools to work through some of their challenges. Reporting in Potomac, Jordan Lindsay for County Report This Week.
This may be the ultimate history tour about the civil rights movement. It's a bus tour that retraces the steps of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights heroes. The Montgomery County Office of Human Rights is hosting the tour. It's called the Civil Rights Educational Freedom Experience. The bus tour takes place from April 6th through the 14th. The cost of the trip and other info can be found at montgomerycountymd.gov/human rights. Coming up on County Report This Week, an exciting Raptors recap. We have all of your hoops highlights. Plus, Rockville residents are asked to voice their opinions about how much should city salaries be. We'll tell you how you can help. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We know you have dreams, a great job, a better life. Career success starts at Montgomery College. MC helps you get the hands-on education you need for the job you want. And you can save up to half the cost of attending other colleges. Career success. It's in your future. Start your future now at Montgomery College.
County residents are required by law to clear sidewalks in front of and alongside their properties within 24 hours of the end of a snowstorm. Working together, Montgomery County can stay safe and warm this winter. Good neighbors clear their sidewalks of ice and snow. For more information, call 311 or go to montgomerycountymd.gov/safe sidewalks.
Welcome back to County Report This Week. I'm Lorna Virgili. The Maryland JUCO basketball tournament was held in Hagerstown, and the Montgomery College women's team was 6th in the 8-team field. MCTV's Michael Brown was there, and here is his report.
As the 6th seed, the MC Raptors faced a tough draw, and in their first round they took on the 3rd-seeded Chesapeake Skipjacks. But MC came out hot, grabbed the early lead, and led by 10 after the first quarter. Chesapeake cut the MC lead to just 3 late in the second quarter, but MC responded with a jumper from Kennedy Cross and a runner from Alexis Mack to go up 7 at the half. Chesapeake battled back in the third quarter to take their first lead of the game, but MC answered to tie it at 53 with 1 quarter to go. Chesapeake stayed hot in the fourth quarter to go up 7 with 6:18 to go, but MC responded to every skipjack run, and with 36 seconds to go, the MC press forced a turnover, and Cross was there to tie it at 72. Chesapeake quickly retook the lead, but with 15 seconds to go, MC's Mac drove, kicked it to Kenya Benjamin, and she drained a gorgeous 3 to give MC the 75-74 win over the higher seed and send the Raptors to the tournament semifinals. In the semis, MC took on the 2nd-seeded Baltimore City Panthers. Baltimore jumped out to a 12-point lead, but MC chipped away and trailed by just 4 after 1 quarter. In the second period, Baltimore extended their lead to 7, but MC again responded to trail by just 4 at the half. MC dominated the third quarter, outscoring the Panthers 20-8, and a late 3 from Mariah Ellis gave them a 7-point lead after 3. Then, early in the final quarter, MC went up by 11. But then it was like someone flipped a switch. The Raptors went cold from the field just as the Panthers heated up. Baltimore quickly forged ahead by 9. MC closed the gap to 4, but that was as close as they would come as they fell 72-67. So now, with Maryland JUCO in the books, next up is the regional tournament for the Raptors with a trip to nationals on the line. For County Report This Week, I'm Michael Brown.
In Rockville, the commission that determines the annual salaries of the mayor and council is asking for help. Rockville 11's Kathy Dantzler explains.
This year, Rockville residents will be voting on who will be the next mayor and council. And the Compensation Commission convenes before a city election to determine compensation of Rockville's elected officials. Before making a recommendation, the commission is looking for input from residents who have run for an elected office in Rockville or even consider running to participate in a survey. The survey will help the commission to evaluate how the mayor and council's compensation might affect an individual's decision to run for a seat on the governing body. To participate in the survey, head to surveymonkey.com/r/RKV Compensation Commission Survey 2019. The commission will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on Thursday, February 28th in the Mayor and Council Chambers right here at City Hall. For County Report This Week, I'm Kathy Dantzler.
And with that, we close this edition of County Report This Week. Remember to like us on Facebook and to join us again at this time every week for a look at what's going on inside Montgomery County. I'm Lorna Virgili, and thank you for watching.